Imagine this, you're Noah. For over a century, you've been building this massive ark. Everyone around you thinks you're crazy. They mock you. They laugh at you, day in and day out. You've been preaching, warning them about a coming flood, a judgment from the Most High. But they don't listen. They carry on with their lives, eating, drinking, marrying, completely oblivious to the storm that's about to break. Can you feel that isolation? The weight of a divine mission that no one else understands. Genesis 7 tells us, "For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground." 7 days, a final countdown. The animals start arriving 2 by 2, a procession guided not by human hands, but by the hand of the Almighty. The sheer spectacle of it must have been breathtaking. Lions walking peacefully beside lambs, eagles flying in with doves, all creation responding to the call of its creator. Yet the people still didn't see. Their hearts were that hard. Then the moment arrives. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives all step into the ark, the final animal boards. And then a sound that must have echoed with dreadful finality. The great door of the ark swings shut. And it wasn't Noah who closed it. The scripture says, "And the Lord shut him in." That's a powerful statement. The Most High himself sealed the door. For Noah and his family, it was a seal of protection, of salvation. But for the world outside, it was a seal of judgment. The door of mercy, which had been open for so long, was now closed. Can you imagine the scene inside the ark? The creaking of the gopher wood, the low murmurs of countless animals, the dim light filtering through the single window. And then it begins. A gentle pitter-patter. Rain. It grows stronger, a relentless downpour. But it wasn't just rain. Genesis says, "The fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened." Water was coming from above and below. The world was being unmade, returned to the watery chaos of the beginning. Outside, the laughter and mocking would have turned to screams of terror. The rising waters would have swept everything away, homes, temples, people. The very ground they trusted gave way. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain fell without ceasing. The ark, once a symbol of foolishness, was now the only vessel of hope in a world drowning in its own wickedness. It was lifted up, floating high above the submerged mountains. Everything that had breath on dry land perished, a total, devastating reset. Think about Noah and his family inside that ark. They were safe, yes, but what did they hear? The muffled cries of a dying world, the constant deafening roar of the flood. This wasn't a pleasure cruise. It was a terrifying, humbling experience of God's power and justice. They were the sole survivors of humanity, floating in a wooden sanctuary, surrounded by death and divine judgment. For 150 days, the waters prevailed upon the earth. 5 long months. That's a long time to be confined, to wait, to trust. It's a testament to their faith, a faith that was counted to them as righteousness. Then Genesis chapter 8 brings a turn. But God remembered Noah. Those are some of the most beautiful words in Scripture. In the midst of universal destruction, God remembered his faithful servant. He sent a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters began to recede. Slowly, painstakingly, the world began to emerge again. After months of floating, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. But they couldn't just get out. They had to wait for God's timing. Noah, ever the faithful servant, waits. He sends out a raven, then a dove. The dove returns, finding no place to rest. He waits 7 more days and sends it out again. This time it returns with a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak. Can you imagine the joy, the relief that swept through the ark at that moment? A sign of life, a sign of new beginnings. The flood was truly over. The earth was ready to be inhabited again. Finally, after more than a year inside the ark, God gives the command, "Go out from the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you." They step out onto a clean, washed earth. The air is fresh. The world is silent, save for the sounds of the animals they brought with them. The first thing Noah does is not build a house for himself. He builds an altar to the Lord. He takes some of every clean animal and every clean bird and offers burnt offerings on the altar, an act of worship, of thanksgiving, of acknowledging who brought them through the storm. And the Most High is pleased. He smells the pleasing aroma and makes a promise in his heart. This is the beginning of chapter 9. He says, "I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intention of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done." God blesses Noah and his sons, telling them to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. He establishes a covenant, a solemn promise, not just with Noah but with every living creature. And he gives a sign for this covenant, something so that we would never forget. He says, "I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth." The rainbow. Every time we see a rainbow arching across the sky after a storm, it is a divine reminder. It's not just a pretty optical phenomenon. It is God's promise painted across the heavens, a declaration that he will never again destroy the world by water. It is a symbol of his mercy, his faithfulness, and his grace. This story is about more than just a flood. It's a story about judgment and salvation. It's about the consequence of sin and the incredible mercy of God. It shows us that God is patient, but his patience has a limit. It shows us that faith, even when it looks foolish to the world, is what saves us. Noah's obedience in the face of ridicule is a powerful lesson for all of us. The world before the flood was corrupt, filled with violence. Does that sound familiar? We live in a world that often mocks faith, that celebrates sin, that ignores the warnings. But just as God provided an ark for Noah, he has provided an ark for us. Our Messiah, Jesus Christ, is our ark of salvation. The door is open now. He calls to all who are weary, all who are lost, to come to him and find refuge. But just like in Noah's day, that door will not stay open forever. Let this story sink deep into your heart. Feel Noah's loneliness, his unwavering faith, the terror of the flood, and the overwhelming joy of stepping onto a new earth under the banner of God's rainbow promise. It's a story that should bring us to our knees in reverence for God's power and in gratitude for his mercy. He is a God of justice, but he is also a God of covenants, of promises, and of new beginnings. Thank you for joining me in exploring these powerful chapters. May the lessons from Noah's journey strengthen your faith and draw you closer to the heart of the Father. If this message touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more teachings from the Word. May the Most High bless you and keep you.